degradation of being bullied by the leaders of the Weimar Republic, those good-for-nothing Prussians who looked down their noses at Bavaria, and all of Süddeutschland. I must explain. It is simple. Germany didn't really lose the Great War. We lost because the hated fates conspired against us. The bloody Kommunisten, the licentious Americans, the impetuous, warmongering Serbs, and, most of all, the ugly, evil Jews with their hook noses and inferior bloodlines and their pernicious cabals and conspiracies to take over the world. Why should we take responsibility for a debacle that should have been settled internally by the Austrians, for a disaster that was not of our creation? And if, because of misinformation, you actually considered Germany a defeated country, think again. It wasn't we Bavarians who were defeated. No battles were waged on our soil, so how could the losses be attributed to us? No, you see, the responsibility and guilt do not lie with Bavaria in the south, but, instead, with the hated Prussians up north, and the despised Weimar Republic with its heinous rules and regulations, and the foreigners who carved up our beloved country. This is the shame that I remember, that inferior minds were allowed to control our land. We Bavarians did not need Prussia and its ridiculous experiment of American democracy, nor did we need the Soviets tutoring us about the ideals of communismus. We needed the restoration of our beloved Wittelsbach monarchy, although we knew that wasn't going to happen, not with the Prussians at the helm. So in lieu of a king, Germany would accept a dictatorial leader who would take from us the shame of defeat and lead us back to glory. And didn't the fatherland find the perfect Führer, the anointed one who would erase the humiliation of ignoble failure and eradicate the abasement suffered by the people of the Aryan race? That is the shame I remember. That is the shame of my youth. The shame of genocide came later to the fatherland, after the Allies pointed out that the Germans might garner more sympathy if, at the very least, they felt a tiny bit disconcerted by the corpses spilling out of the gas chambers and the bone and ashes clogging up the ovens. So I paint in reds because I express myself in paint. Words have always been harder for me. I have tried writing, but it is not the same. Painting involves corporeal participation, the eye, the hand, the fingers, the physicality of the sweep of the brush against the blank canvas, the palette knife gouging through layers of impasto. There is no bodily participation in writing, in punching out little black letters in the same script, the same hue, the same size, all in neat little lines. No, I cannot write. But if I were to write, I think I would have a good story to tell. Chapter 1. Munich, 1929. Papa, it's them again! The banging on the door, accompanied by the panic in Joachim's voice, roused Berg to action. Flinging off the covers, he bolted from the warmth of his feather bed, scarcely registering the frigid air as his bare feet contacted the worn oak floor, running into the common room of the family's apartment. He was awake and ready for confrontation. It was still dark, but Berg could make out the duvet draping over the sofa. Of late, his son had taken to sleeping on the couch, leaving his sister alone in the room they had once shared. Privacy issues, typical of a boy of 15. His body demanded attention without his sister as an audience. Joachim was tall, lean, and movie star handsome, with hound dog blue eyes and a thick mop of hair, blonde in color from his mother, but the curl came from Berg. The room shook from hurling rocks hitting the outside stone. That's it! Berg turned on the lone electric bulb that hung over the dining table and fit the crank into the window. It was a blessing that his family lived on the top floor. The hoodlums below did not have enough force to propel the rocks up to their unit.
That is it.
Axel, what are you doing?
His wife's voice. Berg stopped and turned. Her eyes were still heavy with sleep, and her tresses stuck out at odd angles. Even though the rainstorm had passed, the air was filled with static electricity. He said,
"Go back to bed, Britta. It's cold."
If it's cold to me, it's cold to you.
"Then be a love and get me my coat."
Axel, leave them alone. At least they don't break anything.
"Not yet."
You don't know who they are.
"Of course I know who they are. They are the Austrians' finest."
How do you know? They're not even dressed in brown.
"I know punks."
He leaned into the window crank and felt his face get hot from exertion.
"They are punks."
If they are from Hitler, it's not you they want. It's probably the Jews down below.
"Which Jews?"
The Weinstocks on the second floor, or the Maslanikovs.
"The Maslanikovs are Russian, not Jewish."
Kommunisten. What's the difference?
"I thought they were Social Democrats." Britta dismissed him with a wave of her hand.
Same thing.
"I beg to differ. I voted Social Democrat in the last election."
I wouldn't publicize that if you want to keep our windows intact.
Berg ignored her and gave another push on the crank.
"What is it with this window? You would think we glued it to the framework."
We did. We shut it with paste because it was letting in so much cold air.
"What? When was this?"
About a month ago.
Aha!
The window sprang open, and immediately a bitter cold wind slapped Berg's face. He could almost taste the snow from the Alps. He shouted at the boys below. His displeasure just egged them on. The projectiles began to fall at a faster rate.
"Shout at them for me, Britta."
I will not.
"I need you to distract them. I ask little of you."
And risk being stoned? I'll do it, Papa.
Britta glared at her elder child.
So you join your father in stupidity. One moment I have a clever son. Then he grows to a certain age and becomes idiotic like all men.
She huffed and went back into the bedroom, slamming the door. Joachim suppressed a smile. He turned to his father.
What should I do?
Distract them. From the closet, Berg took out his jacket, his boots, and thick woolen socks. Yell at them, make faces at them, whatever comes to mind. Just keep them occupied. The boy looked out the window and frowned.
There are 4 of them, Papa.
After pulling on his socks and boots, Berg quickly tied up the laces. That's good. When they scatter, my luck at catching one of them will improve. He put on his coat.
You're going outside in your pajamas? Joachim asked. You will freeze.
Ice doesn't form on a moving object. Berg kissed his son's forehead. They seem to be losing interest. Curse at them, Joachim. Be loud and vile. That should fire them up again. Berg slipped out the door, down the hallway, and into the nearly black stairwell. Using the wall as his guide, he jogged down 4 stories worth of steps, heels clanging against the metal. The air was pure frost, making it hard to breathe. He scrunched his face in disgust as odors assaulted him. Rotting garbage, fresh cat piss, and pre-dawn cooking smells. Specifically, sizzling sausage. That anyone had money for breakfast meat surprised him. Berg's own breakfast, when he ate breakfast, was usually a roll with butter. Times were better, yes, but no one had any savings. The city was still reeling from the great inflation of 5 years earlier. There was little trust in the present currency or the fools in Berlin who now claimed a healthy monetary system. As soon as Berg hit the ground floor, he threw open the outside door and pumped his legs to full speed. The boys homed in on the squeaking hinges, saw the charging figure, and took off in all directions. Berg elected to take on not the one closest to him, but rather the biggest, the ringleader. The boy appeared to be around Joachim's age, but stockier, more muscled across the chest, like a typical Bavarian. Like Berg, Joachim had the lean build of an effete English schoolboy.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.